So let's get to some of these.
Right.
Final Smash 1689 says, if W's report, sorry about that, on the Rey Palpatine Grogu movie is true, will it be the final nail in the coffin for cinematic Star Wars? Now, I know we touched a little bit on some of this stuff, but Drinker, have you heard this rumor? I'm sure you have. I'm sure you guys talked about it a little bit. Yeah.
This can't be true, because I'm sure Daisy Ridley is done with Star Wars. She does not want to go back.
We also haven't heard the rumor. Just go through it in real briefly. What is the rumor? What is the report?
Okay, the report is, I'd be careful how I say this. The report is basically that Ridley is indeed involved. Now, to what extent she personally is involved or has not been contracted at this point, I can't speak on that. What we can tell you from a source that Pro and I both know who this person is. We have verified this individual's identity. We know what they do, and they are definitely in a position to have knowledge of such things. And that is that there is, and that Disney would not be communicating in the manner they are, both within Disney corporate and to partners that they have to do strategic planning with years in advance about Rey and Grogu being together. This is in the ether, and it is a Bob Iger initiative. This is something that is relatively new since Iger came back. This is indeed what they're looking at. So they're going to try to take one last stab, at least as of right now, to use the popularity and the merchandise popularity, particularly of Grogu, and try to not throw the whole sequel trilogy thing out. Can we do something with Rey again? Can we make something work here before we, really have to burn it down and start it over? That's the thing. But that is definitely, there are discussions happening. Yes.
It would be a slight bit of cosmic irony if, we reconnect with Rey and she's living on some island somewhere, drinking blue alien milk, and she's just old and disheveled and depressed. that would appeal to my sense of irony, I think.
She's living on a lesbian commune.
That would be.
I just think. I don't even. But if talking from a business point of view, though, a marketing point of view, ain't nobody buying Rey Skywalker dolls or action figures or anything. She's not a marketable character. She never has been.
No.
She's as bland and boring as anyone in Star Wars has ever been. And trying to resurrect her now, it's a failed endeavor.
But that's just it, Drinker, is that they think they can revitalize all that money they've sunk into that whole franchise to this point by bringing in Grogu, Chewbacca, R2-D2, a new character, and Rey together with Grogu.
It's like a guy on the roulette wheel.
That's the 5 characters
Vegas
specifically
who's
on the table. Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's like a guy in the roulette wheel who's betting his shirt and he's lost everything. He's like, this one last spin. This is it. This is my time. I'm gonna win. It's like,
Greed.
no.
I'm not saying it's gonna work. I'm just saying that's what they're doing. I'm not saying it's gonna work. That's what they're doing.
I'm behind the sequel trilogy, who is not willing to throw it out completely. He wants to try to salvage it. I can see this happening. It would never have happened without Iger. But with Iger, someone who is personally invested in the sequel trilogy, now ego becomes a part of it.
Well,
I thought that Kathleen Kennedy might have been the sticking point on this.
Well,
and
both of them.
It really feels like what they're doing is just killing time, just putting out a few TV shows here and there that don't cost too much. And waiting until her contract expires so they can get rid of her, and then they can do something to try and fix the movie side of things.
I just want to point out, and then I'll be quiet for a minute. I just want to point out that all the characters he mentioned that they're trying to prop up with this new rumored project, those are the characters that appear in the Star Wars attraction in Galaxy's Edge called Rise of the Resistance. Those are the characters they're propping up. BB-8, all that. The only exception,
and the Galactic Star Cruiser.
Yeah, exactly.
But remember, this was all under Chapek's time, and I get where I can see what some of I can believe some of this, because I remember hearing stuff, and it was somewhat confirmed by that one writer that they cannot deviate, no matter how much they want to. Even though that was the one time Andre and I remember I completely didn't agree with the reporting we were doing because it wasn't, as far as I was concerned. But I was only hearing it from one source, so it wasn't enough, and that was that they cannot change anything that's been put on screen. They cannot deviate from it's canon once it's on screen. So they almost have to eventually get these two to meet. Like, it's almost imperative that it has to happen. So on that level, that I can see it being a possibility. The other possibility is you've seen Daisy Ridley out in the press and like saying, "Oh, I don't have any jobs anymore because of Star Wars." While the bitch has got more jobs than most fucking actors in Hollywood. So she clearly wants to work. She'll take the money, I'm sure. They'll offer it to her. They'll do some stupid shit. Like you guys said, this all has to do with Iger and his ego. But here's another aspect of this.
And
maybe we'll never even
legacy.
see these
It's
movies.
His legacy.
And his legacy. But there's another aspect. Well, maybe we'll never see these movies. Because going back to the whole Warner deal, this is where I'm starting to wonder if this is what Disney's up to, too, by separating everything. What did George Lucas do the moment he was trying to set up the sale for Star Wars and Lucasfilm? He got the sequel trilogy in motion so that the company was worth more. That's what I think is going on here. I think they're trying to set up all these projects and say, look, we got this and this and this, so that the company is worth more. Because Star Wars, if they tried to sell it right now as a just on its own, wouldn't be worth diddly squat compared to what it was before, because they destroyed it.
What about the Galaxy Hotel? Are you kidding?
I don't see.
You
I
mean
can't
the
see
rat,
Disney's-
that was,
rat
yeah.
hole?
I
mean,
can't see
I-
Disney ever selling that because they have way too much real property, like real estate.
No, what
way
I'm
too much
saying is they're
capital
setting
invested.
up Disney for a sale. They're going to sell off ESPN, Disney, and Disney Parks separately. You watch.
Can I just ask something as well? Like, I'm looking at this as a complete outsider to the industry,
Yeah.
but like, it just seems to me like announcing projects seems like it's worth dick all. Like, you can announce anything you want, but it doesn't add any value to any project. Like, you know, we had an announcement that Ryan Johnson was going to be doing a Star Wars trilogy. This is just vanished into the ether. Nothing's ever going to come of that. So does announcing these things and just seeming like you've gotten the ball rolling actually add any value to the company? You need
It does,
proven
though.
track records.
That's
Surely.
true. But Andre, like, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, exactly. It does. It doesn't add any value directly for the company as a whole. But here's the thing: you don't have to look at the company level. You have to look at the individual executive level, because there was a point when Kathleen Kennedy was even told by the JPEG management, kindly stop soft announcing all this
Yeah.
stuff never going to happen, because you may think, they didn't say this, but this of course is the meaning, because you may think it makes you look good that you have this ball rolling and everything is going to change now, but in reality it only makes Disney look ridiculous, because none of the stuff you try to set in motion ever ends up happening.
Yeah.
But as far as like the selling of the company, like, yeah, that was my, the example was, to make Lucasfilm worth more. That's why George got that stuff rolling. And that's kind of the same thing with the whole Warner's report that, and I know you don't agree necessarily, Valiant, but that's what I see from that is a very similar situation, is they're announcing all this stuff to make it worth more, basically. At
There's
the end
so
of the day,
few
so they can sell
companies
it for
though that
more.
can actually do that. I mean, you're talking about, we're going back to the same too with Warner Brothers in that
Yeah,
case.
it's
You've got
Apple
Amazon
and
and you've got
Amazon.
Apple.
Exactly.
There's only
yeah,
two.
I get you.
And they, so I mean, it's you're talking about,
And that's
I mean,
where
Disney,
we're at
like it
right
or
now,
not,
yeah.
it's still a $200 billion cap company. I mean, and you've
right.
got Apples and Amazons out there that at their peak were $2 trillion market
Well,
cap
and
companies.
funnily enough,
So-
these are the two companies we keep hearing brought up in the mix as far as like Apple has been, they bought MGM, which surprised the hell out of me. But yeah, we're going to be losing the drinker here though.